Before you judge this story, listen carefully. This is not about murder. This is not about madness. This is about obsession, the kind that builds legends. One man ran toward danger while the world ran away. He risked his body, his relationships, and his sanity for perfection. Some call him disciplined. Some call him terrifying. But what if the most frightening thing about Tom Cruise is not what he hides, but how much control he really has? Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss an update. Dive into what really happened. This is not a horror story. This is not a conspiracy theory. And this is definitely not what shocking headlines want you to believe. When people hear the title, The Real American Psycho, Tom Cruise, their minds instantly jump to darkness. Hidden secrets, disturbing behavior, or something sinister lurking behind that perfect Hollywood smile. Social media loves extremes, and the internet thrives on controversy. But the truth about Tom Cruise is not frightening in the way people expect. It's far more complex, far more intense, and far more human. Tom Cruise is not just a movie star. He is a global phenomenon. For more than 40 years, he has remained at the top of one of the most unforgiving industries in the world. While countless actors rise and disappear, Cruise keeps running, literally and metaphorically, straight through every era of cinema. His energy feels unnatural. His discipline feels excessive. And his control feels almost unreal. Some people admire him deeply. They see a man who refuses to settle, who pushes his limits, and who gives everything to his craft. Others criticize him. They question his choices, his beliefs, and his personality. And then there are those who feel uncomfortable watching him, not because he's dangerous, but because his intensity exposes something most people avoid: relentless self-control. In a world where chaos is normal and mediocrity is accepted, extreme focus feels alien. Tom Cruise does not slow down. He does not compromise. He does not publicly fall apart. Every movement, every interview, every performance feels calculated. Not fake but controlled. And that level of control makes people nervous. Because it forces an uncomfortable question. What does it actually take to stay on top for decades without breaking? Is it talent alone? Is it obsession? Or is it something deeper? A mindset built on absolute ambition and total self-discipline. This story is not about labeling Tom Cruise as a villain or a hero. It's about understanding what happens when ambition has no off switch. When discipline becomes a lifestyle. And when control becomes identity. When absolute ambition meets absolute control, something extraordinary is created. But it also becomes misunderstood. And that is exactly where this story begins. Tom Cruise didn't stumble into greatness. He engineered it with intention, discipline, and relentless effort. From the earliest days of his career, Cruise was never obsessed with celebrity status or red carpet applause. His focus was far more dangerous: perfection. While many actors waited for the right role to find them, Tom Cruise actively chased opportunities, studied the industry, and positioned himself exactly where he needed to be. He treated acting not as a dream, but as a system that could be mastered. On set, his behavior set him apart. When other actors relaxed between takes, Cruise trained. He studied scripts line by line, repeated scenes again and again, and demanded the highest standards from himself long before anyone else did. He wasn't trying to be better than others. He was trying to eliminate mistakes. That level of focus made him different. And difference, especially in Hollywood, always attracts attention. Tom Cruise doesn't run from danger. He runs toward it, literally. He hangs off flying planes, leaps from cliffs, races motorcycles at impossible speeds, and pushes his body far beyond what most actors would ever risk. He has broken bones, suffered injuries, and returned to filming without hesitation. Not because studios force him to, but because he believes authenticity matters. He believes the audience can feel the difference between real fear and fake performance. To some people, this commitment is unsettling. They question why anyone would push themselves so far when comfort is available. To others, it's deeply inspiring, proof that excellence demands sacrifice. But obsession is a double-edged sword. The same intensity that builds legends also creates distance. Cruise doesn't live like normal people. He doesn't think like normal people. His routines, priorities, and mindset exist outside the average human experience. Over time, that separation creates mystery, and mystery creates myths. That's when the word psycho begins to surface. Not because of chaos or madness, but because of unmatched discipline. Because when someone refuses to slow down, refuses to settle, and refuses to live comfortably, society struggles to explain them. Tom Cruise isn't obsessed because he's unstable. He's obsessed because he refuses to be ordinary. And that obsession is exactly what turned him into a legend. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Tom Cruise doesn't feel real to many people because he almost never breaks character in public life. In an era where celebrities build connection by showing flaws, breakdowns, and vulnerability, Cruise does the opposite. Where others expose chaos, he presents control. Where others slow down with age, he accelerates. And where most public figures reveal weakness to appear relatable, Cruise maintains consistency. And consistency in today's world feels suspicious. His smile is precise. His energy never fades. His interviews are sharp, confident, and tightly focused. There are no public meltdowns, no moments of visible doubt, no dramatic confessions. To many viewers, this emotional restraint feels unnatural. Because we've been trained to believe that authenticity must include struggle. Hollywood thrives on contradictions, and Tom Cruise is one of its most confusing ones. He plays heroes who risk everything, yet rarely shows personal vulnerability. He grows older, yet somehow doesn't seem to age the way others do. He is undeniably human, yet performs with the precision of a machine. That contradiction turns him into a mirror, one that reflects our own discomfort with discipline. When someone appears too controlled, too focused, too consistent, people begin to question their humanity. This is where comparisons to characters like American Psycho originate. Not because of violence, cruelty, or darkness, but because of hyper-control, strict routine, and emotional restraint. In storytelling, characters who operate with perfect control are often portrayed as unsettling, not because they are dangerous, but because they are unreadable. But this is what people often forget. Actors are not their roles. Intensity is not insanity. And discipline is not darkness. Tom Cruise did not become powerful by losing control. He became powerful by mastering it. He chose structure over chaos, preparation over comfort, and consistency over emotional exposure. That choice made him exceptional and also misunderstood. In a culture that celebrates breakdowns as honesty, someone who never breaks feels unreal. But perhaps the real issue isn't Tom Cruise's control. It's our expectation that greatness must look messy. Sometimes, discipline is simply discipline. And mastery, when done quietly, can look almost inhuman. Every extreme has a cost, and absolute control is no exception. Tom Cruise's life is built behind carefully guarded walls. Fame has turned privacy into a luxury he rarely experiences. Every public appearance, every interview, every gesture is captured, dissected, criticized, and replayed endlessly. There is no room for quiet mistakes, no space to fail in private. When your life is lived under a microscope, control becomes a survival tool. But control comes with consequences. Relationships struggle under the weight of constant attention, relentless schedules, and deeply held belief systems. The demands of global fame don't just affect careers, they affect human connection. For someone like Cruise, whose life operates at maximum intensity, maintaining balance becomes almost impossible. The more disciplined he becomes, the further removed he appears from ordinary life. And when vulnerability disappears from public view, something dangerous happens. People stop seeing the human being. They begin to see an image. That's the real risk here. Not madness, not instability, but misunderstanding. When a person chooses emotional privacy, the world often interprets it as emotional absence. But silence does not mean emptiness. And control does not mean the absence of feeling. In fact, extreme control often comes from the opposite place: fear. Tom Cruise's intensity is driven by the fear of failure, the fear of irrelevance, and the fear of wasted potential. These are not strange fears. They live inside millions of people around the world. The difference is scale. His fears play out on a global stage, where every success is amplified and every flaw is magnified. The pressure to remain exceptional never disappears. When you reach the top, the only direction left is down, and staying there requires constant motion. This is why the psycho narrative misses the point entirely. It's not about who Tom Cruise is as a person. It's about how uncomfortable excellence makes us. Watching someone operate at a level of discipline most people cannot maintain forces comparison. And comparison creates discomfort. Absolute control builds legends, but it also builds distance. And that distance, more than anything else, is the true price of perfection. Oh, is Tom Cruise the real American psycho? Well, he is something far more complex and far more interesting. Tom Cruise is not defined by darkness or instability. He is defined by intention. He is a man who took obsession and refined it into art. Where others accepted comfort, he chose pressure. Where mediocrity was acceptable, he demanded excellence. Every role, every stunt, and every performance reflects a mindset built on control, preparation, and relentless ambition. He is not a mystery because he hides something dangerous. He is a mystery because he refuses to slow down. Behind the headlines and dramatic labels stands a performer who understands the cost of greatness and chooses to pay it anyway. Cruise does not separate life from work. His discipline is not something he switches on for the camera. It is the foundation of his identity. And living that way creates a strange contradiction. A human being trapped inside a superhuman image. That image is powerful, but it is also heavy. The real story of Tom Cruise is not about fear or madness. It is about control over craft, over body, over time, and over legacy. It is about ambition that never rests and intensity that never fades. And most importantly, it is about the cost of never slowing down in a world that eventually expects everyone to. Perhaps that is why this story fascinates people so deeply. Tom Cruise represents what happens when someone operates at 100% intensity in a world that is comfortable living at 60%. His discipline challenges our excuses. His consistency challenges our comfort. And his success forces a difficult question. What could we become if we refuse to settle? That doesn't make him dangerous. It makes him different. And in Hollywood, an industry built on trends, imitation, and temporary fame, being different is often misunderstood. Legends are rarely understood in their own time. They are questioned, labeled, and reduced to headlines that fail to capture the truth. Tom Cruise is not a myth to be feared. He is a mirror, reflecting what obsession, when mastered, can achieve. And that is the real story behind the legend.